Guys, this is insane. I just signed a 5.5k per month client for my social media marketing agency, and it was all through Instagram DMs. No outreach, no emails, no looms, no sales call. This is so crazy. I'm gonna show you guys how I did it today. Before we get into it, let me give you guys a little bit of context. My name is Kasim Akram. I'm a 20-year-old entrepreneur and agency owner, currently based in Bali, and I run a TikTok growth and UGC production agency called creativescale.io. And today I wanna break down for you step by step everything I did to close this 5.5k per month client all through Instagram DMs. I don't think I've seen anybody else do this, especially in the e-com niche, and I'll break down everything. Let's dive into how I signed this client for 5.5k a month all through Instagram DMs. Now, a little bit of context again. Like I said, I run a TikTok growth and UGC production agency that works with e-commerce brands and SaaS companies. So the main offer that I push when working with e-com brands is producing UGC ad creative. So this is kind of the videos that brands would use on their ads on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, that kind of stuff. And the offer that I had for these guys was exactly that. So the exact offer was, we produce 15 UGCs per month in return for a monthly fee of $5,500. Now, how did I go on to find them? And it wasn't anything special at all, no outreach whatsoever. It was a case of, I followed a few big e-com entrepreneurs, dropshippers on Instagram, and I saw them one time on their story looking for recommendations of people that can produce UGC for them, for their brands. And so I just thought, why not? Let me just reply to their story, send them a DM, and then we just ended up starting to talk. So this was kind of the conversation here. Okay, nice to meet you, Kasim. We're looking to outsource UGC creation to someone. What kind of services do you offer? Now, as you can see here, I didn't just send a short message of, yeah, I produce UGC and I run TikTok ads. That was something that probably a lot of guys will do, but for me, I did a few things, and I'm going to break down how I did this and why I did this to kind of make them see me as a lot more trustable, a lot more valuable than just the average person that we're probably looking at already. So the first thing that I did was I talked about why I'm different to every other option they're considering. And the reason I did this is it massively increases my perceived value. So rather than just, like I said, saying, we produce UGCs and for e-com brands and we run some ads, which sounds pretty generic, I went in deep and I said, okay, the main difference from us to other people is that we control the whole process, we don't outsource the content, all that kind of stuff. It's all things that these guys want to hear because they want to have trust in the people they're paying. So it's kind of like, before they even asked, I already told them, kind of thing. And I also dived into kind of like talking about the fact that not just we do UGC production, but we also scale brands with TikTok. So what this does, and the reason I did this, even though I knew they weren't interested in it necessarily, was because, again, it kind of like massively bumps up my perceived value because they don't just see me as some guy who produces UGC or creates UGC. They see me as someone who is an expert in scaling brands through TikTok. And also one thing I did was I mentioned the benefits of my services over everybody else. So as you can see here, I said a few things like, we produce a massive library of content. You can be edited multiple times by our team and it saves you a shit ton of money. Things like this are just kind of like, I didn't need to say them, but it just massively kind of like, I guess, increases my perceived value on their side when it comes to them looking at me with a short message. And then as you can see straight away, it worked perfectly. Wow, sounds perfect, exactly what we're looking for. So that's the kind of message you're hoping for when you're kind of like telling them what you do. Now next, I went straight into sending them proposals. So after that message, they just sent me an email address and said, hey bro, send whatever you can do over to this email and I'll have a look. So even though this message just seems pretty simple, I actually again did a couple of things I want you guys to understand. So the first thing I did here was that I made them feel comfortable by offering to talk to them on call before starting. So a lot of times people will make the mistake of just saying to their leads, get back to me if you're interested, or let me know what you think, or all that kind of stuff, and they never give them an option to kind of have further discussion before they move forward. Last thing I did was I kind of made them already feel like they were closed by saying, looking forward to working with you. Like I said, a lot of people make the mistake of just saying, okay, let me know if this interests you, let me know if you're interested, get back to me if this sounds good, whatever, that kind of stuff. But I chose to say, looking forward to working with you. So kind of like really thinking this guy's confident, he knows what he's talking about. It's probably our best option to work with this guy. So then what is actually in the proposal that I sent them? It was just a Google Doc, no presentation or anything. Simple Google Doc, but in this Google Doc, I did a lot of psychological things that made them very easy to close. That makes sense? So I'm going to go through a few things of what we did. So the first thing was that I added an example, a link to my examples of my work. Now the reason I did this is because it's almost like them walking into a store and looking at the product that they're going to buy. So it's a lot more easier for them to know what they're going to buy and then see it, see the examples of what I've done in the past. And a lot of the times you guys may be thinking, but what if I don't have any clients? One thing I did when I first started out was, and most of the videos that are in this Google Drive that I sent them were videos that I did for free. For pretty much all they did was cover the cost. They were just free, and I just did them so I could have some examples of my best work. So the next thing I did was I broke down, I actually gave them 3 options, but mainly I broke down and I focused on one option. And this option was the one that I wanted them to move forward with. So as you can see here, it was 15 to 20 UGC creatives per month. And it was, I said, discounted fee of £4,250, which actually I ended up closing them for a bit more. And I gave them a few benefits as well. One thing that a lot of people don't do is kind of like explain to them again, even if they already know, the benefits of why this offer is good for them. Direct contact with me, full access to my editing team, all that kind of stuff. Last thing that I did, the last 2 things that I did was with the options. As you can see, I gave them 3 options, one low, one middle, one high. So 10, 15 and 25. So the reason I did that is it's a concept in sales or just selling products in general where it's we do something called price anchoring. So price anchoring is where you give them 3 options, like I said, low, mid, high. And usually, pretty much like 90% of the time with consumers, they'll always end up wanting to buy the middle one. And it worked perfectly here, as you obviously see that they went forward with the option that I wanted to go forward with, which was the middle one. And last thing I did here, as you can see, is that I went ahead and I kind of did some research for them. I took a couple of screenshots of different, UGC kind of like agencies or whatever they call themselves, and I showed them that, okay, they're providing less than what I'm going to provide for you, and it's more expensive. So kind of what that does when you kind of give them, I guess, the other options they can go down, the other alternative routes they can go down, and show them that without them asking, it kind of like removes the need for them to think about it or question it or like waste more time doing their own research and seeing what else is out there in terms of price points and what they can offer. So yeah, now we go on to handling objections. So they actually gave me the biggest objection I think everyone will get, and that is the price objection. They weren't happy with the price to begin with. So like I said, price objection is something that everybody will get at some point, pretty much always sometimes. And it does not mean that they're not interested in the service. It just means that they're not educated on why they should be paying that much money for what you do. And that's not a case of a fault, your fault. It's mainly a case of they don't understand yet. So all your job is to educate them as to why what you're doing and what you're charging is the right price and why they should move forward with it. So the proposed price that I gave them, like I said, was $5,500. So that's around $366 per video. And the price that they wanted to pay, as you can see in this screenshot, was we're looking to pay an average of $100 per video. So it's like over 3.5 times more than what they wanted to pay. But I ended up doing a few things, which I'll break down, that made them just be comfortable with the fact that they're paying this much money, 3.5 times more than what they were comfortable paying to begin with. What were a few things that I did in these messages? The first thing was that I assured them that they'll get a lot of raw content from our creators to be able to use in the future. What this means in simple terms is that they're getting more for their money. The second thing I did was I assured them that they were going to have a good experience with my agency. And like I said here, they're going to have full access to my editing team, like I said here. So what this does for them is it kind of makes them think, okay, this actually makes a lot of sense because we're not just getting these videos produced, we're also going to have access to a full editing team that can produce more videos for us in the future. And the next thing I did was in the voice notes that I sent, I can't play them for you, but in the voice notes that I sent, I talked about my proposed price as if they were getting a really, really good deal. I said things like, I wouldn't really charge anybody else this low. My normal clients pay like, double what I'm charging you, all that kind of stuff. And even though it's not necessarily true, it just kind of like makes them think, okay, it's a bit more urgency in their minds where it's like, okay, he's giving us a good deal. I said things like, I'm really looking forward to working with you guys long term. That's why I'm giving you guys this deal. But for me, profit margins are like 95%. So it's still like, not giving money off of what I'm doing. It kind of gives them like a sense of feeling like kind of almost grateful and like happy and like thankful for the fact that you're giving them this deal. So it's much more likely that they're going to move forward. And also one thing that I realized with a lot of big, massive companies or big, massive leads that I've worked with, especially in the e-com niche, is that they just want one person to trust. So no matter how much it costs, obviously if it's not obscene, but normally they just want one person to trust. So if you can portray that trust to them, that they can trust you with this part of their business, that's normally the biggest thing that these guys value. So that's one thing to remember when you're working with bigger leads. And now let's go into how I actually closed them. So as you can see, they had those objections, and I tried to address them as best as I could. And then straight away they said here, let's give it a shot. Send me the payment details. So with no effort other than just me sending those replies to them that you guys saw, it was very, very easy for them to say, let's give it a shot, let's go. So yeah, that was pretty much the close. It was very simple. And the one thing that they said here, which is very good to understand, is that they said, we love your bids in the drive, so it's likely completely worth it. So what that kind of means is that all the stuff that I did before in the proposal and the messages all made them feel very comfortable where they said themselves it's most likely completely worth it. Even though it's a massive fee for what I was doing, it's they're very comfortable with it and they're very happy with it, which is something that is kind of a testament to these little small tactics that I use. From there, it was a case of waking up the next morning and seeing 5.5k processed by these guys. So they sent the payment while I was asleep because of different time zones. I hope you really enjoyed me going through this, how I closed this client. As you can see, it was pretty simple. Like you may think that closing a client this big is kind of irregular, quite scary. How do you do this? But this is a normal thing for me. 5k deals kind of the minimum right now, especially for me as well as the people that I mentor and that I teach. So yeah, that's kind of like the way, kind of some things that we do, some things that I teach my guys to do when it comes to how to frame themselves that makes them seem as valuable enough to be able to charge 5.5k. If you do want this document for yourselves, I will happily give you the link. Just comment down below, give me the link or give me the document. Let me put it up on screen what's a comment, and I'll happily send this over to you guys. So guys, if you haven't already, make sure you go ahead, subscribe, press that button, also turn on the notification bell. I'm going to be posting videos like every week, maybe twice a week sometimes as well. Also follow me on Instagram, kasim.akram. You see a lot of stuff that I do in there. Also message me if you guys want any advice. Go ahead, message me. Don't hesitate to send me a DM saying you came from this video, I'd like some advice or just want to talk to you about this certain thing, and I'd be happy to point you in the right direction, especially if it's with your agency or if it's just with life in general. So guys, hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next video. Much love. Have a great day.